Wow, yeah, back with another Portable Clint. Guys, the cool thing about this show, to me, is that the majority of the people I interview, I know. But the people who I want to know, all I say is, hey, I want to interview you, and then I know them. And I've been digging this guy for a long time. This guy stood out to me on screen, and he's just been on my radar. So I said, man, I got to have this guy on. Ladies and gentlemen, Marlon Young.
Hey.
Look at that. Look at you, man. You look fantastic, dude.
I'm trying, man. I'm really trying.
You look great.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Not bad yourself.
Well, thank you very much.
Love that hat.
Marlon, let me tell you something.
Yep.
Usually we're going to get going here, but let me just tell you how you showed up on my radar, which I'm sure it happened on a lot of people's radar.
Okay.
But you stood out to me big time on Entourage.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I mean, for some reason, dude, every time you were on there, my attention was always on you.
Well, thank you for that.
Yeah, so then I saw you at an audition a few months back, and I started talking to you, and the stuff you told me blew my mind. So I'm like, man, I got to get him on.
Okay.
So welcome to the Portable Clint Show.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, Marlon.
Okay.
Tell me about. Usually I like to.
Coffee.
Yeah, drink it, do whatever. Usually I like to say, when do people roll into town?
Okay.
But I want to hear your backstory before you came into town.
Okay.
Tell me a little bit about that, please, sir.
And
I say sir very respectfully because of the answer you're about to give.
I was in the Army for 8 years, and I was a fighter, a helicopter fighter pilot. I flew the Army Cobra.
Can you show your tattoo,
Sure.
please?
Sure. You see that?
Look at that. Look at that.
Yeah. Flew that
Okay.
thing.
All right.
It was introduced in Vietnam. The Army needed an answer to a helicopter gunship, and they had machine guns on the side of a Huey, and then Bell, they commissioned Bell, and they created this slim helicopter with 20 millimeter gun on it, and folding thin aerial rockets and tow missiles, and so the Army adopted that, or bought it, and they ordered a bunch of it, and then I joined the Army in 1979, and went in.
How old were you? 18?
I was 17, going on 18,
Okay.
and my dad's my idol, and he and all of his friends had served in the military, and their lament was always that this freedom that we have isn't free. So I always thought that I was going to, do some time in the military. I wanted to be an actor since I was a kid. So I joined. I went in as a soldier. I was a pretty good soldier. I was a pretty good book smart kid. And I won the soldier competition. I didn't have any college. And the general that gave me the award said, you ought to be an officer. And I said, well, I don't have any college. He said, well, you can go to flight school, learn how to fly, you become a warrant officer. You can become a warrant officer. I didn't know what that was. I said, never been in a helicopter, never seen a helicopter up close. He said, they'll teach you everything you need to know. So I took the tests, got admitted into the school, and then I got to the school, and school's a year long. It's very compact, really tough school, high attrition rate. And he said, what do you want to fly? And I said, well, what's the best thing to fly? He said, fighters. I said, well, what does that require? I said, well, you got to graduate in the top 5% of the class. I said, well, then I'll do that then. So that's what I did.
Awesome. To make this about me for 1 second,
Sure.
and it's always about you, I did a commercial. My very first commercial out here was for the Army, and it was Freedom Wasn't Free commercial.
Really?
Yeah. So I kind of served, not to brag.
Well, thank you for your service.
Hey, thank you. Yeah, thank you for your service. I'm serious.
Sure.
Okay. All right. So you do that for 8 years.
Yes.
Tell me about, after the 8 years is up,
Yeah.
what are you thinking in your head? Tell me.
My parents never got along. Right?
Okay.
They were married for 20 years, and they split when I was like 15 or so. And they seemed to fight religiously, really hard on Sunday after church.
Really?
And, yeah, and I've got 3 siblings, and they all they'd go out, with friends and disappeared, while the argument was going on. I disappeared into television, and it seemed like every Sunday on the local channel there was a Jerry Lewis movie on.
Okay.
So I escaped into Jerry Lewis, and I decided at about 6 that's what I want to do. So I always want to be an actor. So I didn't know when that was going to happen, and the Army wasn't an escape. It wanted to do some service and to get out of this small town that I was from, a very small town in South Carolina.
What's it called?
Early Branch.
Okay.
Population was about 225 people. And
What is it now?
About 227.
Okay.
So,
All right.
so I left there. So the Army took me away from there, but I always knew I was going to be an actor. So I did plays in school, and then plays while I was in the Army. Plays while I was an officer stationed in Germany. And
Is there a lot of plays in the Army?
yeah. If you can find a local, there's a on the civilian side, where military families are, the kids and wives and husbands.
Oh, okay,
and stuff.
yeah, I see.
So
what
they
you're
have
saying.
theater and whatever.
Gotcha, I got you.
So
okay.
I joined a local theater group, and we put on plays. When I was in Germany, we put on plays at the Officers Club. So I was flying during the day, and I was playing Snoopy in You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown.
Okay. You're not the only person who's played Snoopy on this show before.
Are you serious?
Yeah. The same play.
That's funny. So it's a great role, by the way.
Is it?
She has character stretching. So my time is about up in the Army, and I decide it was a coin toss. It was either come out to Los Angeles and study, or go to New York and study, and Los Angeles won. So
Okay.
the day I got out, packed all my stuff, got a U-Haul. I had this big Bronco.
What kind of Bronco, man? I dig old
I had
Broncos.
a 1982 Ford Bronco. It had a Ford half-inch lift kit on it. It was white with tan interior, and it had Southern Comfort written across the back
Oh
of it.
man, I love it. Send me a picture if you don't mind, if you have one.
I will. I'll do that.
Okay.
And then I drove down to South Carolina to say bye to my dad, and my mom, and I said I'm going to California.
Were they fighting at the time when you said
They were
goodbye?
They were split.
Okay.
To break it up. You go, look, just for a second.
Okay.
I'm leaving. Now get back. So and then I drove out. Took it was a 3-day drive or whatever the hell it was, and got here on May 5th, 1987.
May 5th, 1987. I got here September 29th, 1987.
Wow.
So wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So you roll into town.
Yep.
Do you know anyone?
Nobody.
Okay. Tell me about how you start setting up, because I love the people who come in here not knowing anyone, because that's even harder work to become an actor.
A little bit, right?
Yeah.
A little bit.
And there's a question I'm going to want to ask you, and I guess I'm going to go ahead and ask you now.
Okay.
I feel like in order to be a successful actor, you need a lot of self-discipline.
Yes.
As your Army upbringing helped you in this business?
It has.
Okay.
It has.
You can kind of answer that along the way as
Okay,
well.
sure,
But
sure.
but anyway, go ahead. So what do you
Sure.
you roll into town,
So
not
I don't
knowing any person?
Not know anybody. I stayed at a hotel. I forgot what it was. I think it was a Ramada Inn. There was something else now, but it was a Ramada Inn in Beverly Hills, and I wanted to stay there for the weekend.
Beverly Hills? You're staying in Beverly
Just
Hills?
so I could say I stayed in Beverly Hills for a couple of days. So I did that, and then I got an apartment. I got an apartment in Culver City, and I didn't know what you do, right? I don't know what you hear the rumors or TV, whatever. Oh, you got to get a job as a waiter or some other day job or whatever
Right.
it was. So I never waited tables, right? So I thought, well, maybe I'll have to get a job as a waiter.
How old are you right now?
I'm 25.
Okay.
25.
Okay.
So I go out of that weekend. I go out of the hotel to go to a bar and maybe ask somebody. Maybe I'd run into an actor or whatever, right? I go into this bar and man, I wish I could remember the name of it. But it was a predominantly an oyster bar with a bartender. But oysters was the thing. I think it was called Jaime's.
Okay.
I think it was called Jaime's on Pico. And a group of guys were there. Dude bartender was there. And when I got there and after I ordered a beer, TV was on, and the crowd started screaming at the TV. This group of guys started yelling at the TV, and the bartender was an actor. And his episode of whatever show was on the TV.
That's
right?
so Hollywood right there.
It's
man.
right.
Yeah.
So I said, "Hey man, what kind of job do I get?" He said, "Man, you gotta get some kind of wait job or whatever the hell it was." This was mine, bartender. So I went around, looked at some waiter places, couldn't get one, and I got a job selling used cars in Beverly Hills. And I did that for a couple of months. It was okay. I did okay with it, but I didn't like it. And then I thought maybe I could get a flying job. And then I thought, well, nobody's going to hire me because nobody needs a fighter pilot to fly civilian helicopters. But I really thought that the helicopter community, helicopter pilot community, is a very small, for lack of a better phrase, good old boy community, and you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And this is late 80s, so I thought, man, I got. But what I got to lose, right?
Right.
So I went around made up a resume, and went around to a bunch of helicopter places, nothing, nobody's hiring. And the last place I went was the corporate helicopter side of American Airlines at LAX. If you were flying into Burbank from New York, American Airlines didn't fly into Burbank. They flew into Los Angeles, and then you took a helicopter.
Wow.
And it took you to
Wow.
Burbank
Okay.
and other places. Went into that office with Sue. Went into that office and met with the chief pilot. He's the guy who does all the hiring. And I gave him my resume. And I said, "Hey man, I flew Cobras. I'm looking for a job." And he said, he looked at my resume for a second and put it down and said, "Oh, you flew Cobras?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, I just fired a guy 15 minutes ago. When can you start?"
Awesome.
So for the next 7 years, that's what I did. That was my day job, because I flew helicopters during the day, and then I went to acting class and did plays at night.
Look at you, man. Okay, so that was 7 years. And did you work within those 7 years as an actor?
Interesting you asked that. I did a lot of plays, and then I think 1991. It's funny because I just had an audition. Just had an audition yesterday for this particular casting director, who was the first casting director that I auditioned for. Her name was Nancy Mayer.
Okay,
Nancy
sure.
Mayer?
Yeah, of course.
She was doing a show called Nasty Boys.
I don't
Shot
know
in
Nasty
Vegas. It was
Boys.
undercover
Okay.
cop shot in Vegas, and I got that gig. That was my first guest star role. It was my first role in television in '91.
Okay, you booked that. What year was that?
'91, I believe.
91.
I think it was
When
91.
when do you book Family Matters? When do you book your first
Wow.
episode of Family Matters?
Ugh. Late '80s, I guess. Early '90s.
Okay.
No, early '90s. Not late.
Well, yeah, it was early 90s.
Early 90s.
Early, because you shot Nasty Boys
96?
first, so you
That's
had
right.
to shoot.
This is my. This is why I need this thing. So Nasty Boys first, and then 96, 95, 96, something like that. I was a stand-up comic when I first got here.
Okay, now you're telling me that. Okay.
Right. so I thought maybe comedy was the thing to do. Maybe because you remember open mic night was everywhere.
Sure,
right?
yeah.
You walked into 7-Eleven, there was a mic in the corner. You know, if you went to open mic night. So and a lot of comics were getting TV shows and so on and so forth. So I did stand up at the normal places, you know, the Improv and the Comedy Store, and then I auditioned to be a comic at the Ice House in Pasadena.
Sure.
So I ended up being a middle act at the Ice House for about 3 years.
Okay.
So comedy was the thing, and then I got called in to audition for
Family Matters.
and my comedy lent itself to get that role, and that became a recurring role.
Okay, well, hang on a second. So you go in to audition for Family Matters,
Yeah.
and it's just a one-day part. You're just shooting. I mean, it
It's
doesn't
a one-
say recurring on the.
No,
on
it's
the
a one-off
audition.
episode. It was a card game with it was a card game, and I couldn't remember the other two guys, but Iqbal Thiba.
Yeah,
Iqbal
who's that? I know that's the kid. That's the older brother in it, right?
He's a card player. He was from India.
Okay.
And he had a very thick accent.
Oh,
on his
okay,
show.
I got the wrong guy. Okay, go ahead.
So yeah, so we had Carl had Reggie Bell Johnson had this card game, and it was a one-off thing. And then they liked what I did, and
Do you know that they're like what you're doing? Like, are they laughing and going, "Dude, you're so funny"? Like, are you feeling
No,
it? Did you know you'd be coming back from that day?
No. I you do, you know what we do. You
Yeah,
just go,
yeah.
You do the thing and you leave. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, thanks for having me. I didn't
Right.
bump into the furniture, didn't break anything. See you later. You know, and I left, and then they called my agent, and they said the audience really. After I left, they said the audience really loved Marlon's character, so we think we're going to have him recur. So they decided that Carl also needed a best friend.
Carl, the guy from Die Hard.
Yeah, exactly. The father, Reginald Bell Johnson. So they gave him a best friend, Willie. It was me. So I'd show up on, I think I ended up showing up on 10 episodes, something like that.
That's awesome, man.
It was really great. Yeah, it was really great.
That is great.
And it was really, they were popular episodes. So I showed up on like the episode where his daughter got engaged, and I showed up on a couple of Christmas episodes, and another card episode. So those those episodes continue to air in syndication a lot.
Do you think that this is going to be? Do you think this is going to be the launching pad for your career? Do you think you're going to go and get your series regular after this? What are you thinking while getting all these phone calls?
I think that, and this is where the Army discipline.
Yes.
Is I'm not thinking that. I'm thinking this is a chance to hone my ability in front of the camera, right? How do you hit marks? How do you take direction, immediately? How do you respond to the people who are the stars of the show, so you don't overshadow those people, right?
Smart.
So that's how I saw it. And however long that's going to last, that's what I'm going to. And if something else comes out of this, great. But I'm going to use this particular thing as a classroom to hone myself on camera. Because they've got a lot of on-camera classes.
That actors
go and pay for, and I'm getting an on-camera class for free.
Yeah, you are, and you're getting paid.
Exactly.
Nicely.
It was pretty nice.
Okay, just while we're on that subject, so say you are filming and you mess up. Are you beating yourself up in your head?
I'm not.
Is that self-discipline, or do you just don't care about that? I messed up, big deal. See, like when I mess up, I'm like, oh, okay, man, I messed up. I hope I don't mess up again on this next take because I just messed up. And then I'm just going back
now you're on the hamster wheel.
Exactly. So I'm trying to figure out is if your discipline has helped you just stop that crazy thoughts like that.
So what we do, there's a specificity to what we do as actors. I believe at the core of it, right? And I think that gets lost on some actors when they come out to Hollywood, because I think most actors or most people who aspire to be actors aspire to be on TV, as opposed to aspire to be an actor, right?
Right. Yeah. There's a big difference.
There's a huge difference. The craftsmanship of acting. So I study that a lot, and I have studied that a lot over the last 30 years. And I pride myself in that. I work at that craft really hard. And at this point in my career, or even at that point in my career, I was a really good craftsman. Getting better, but a really good craftsman. So when I show up on set with all the other stuff, so you show up with the craftsmanship, and then they give you the script and and now you get the camera and the other people. So all of that works itself into this thing that we do. I show up ready to work 100%. I like to call myself a one-take actor.
Okay.
I show up to do it in one take, and if we have to do it again, okay.
How do you get in that frame mind that I'm a one-take actor? Like, what are you saying to yourself on the drive over there to the set?
I've prepared the night before.
How long, like, say your scene is 2 pages. How long are you preparing the night before?
4 hours.
4 hours?
Mm-hmm. I'll go over and over 4 hours until I hone in on exactly what it is I'm trying to do.
And what are you trying to do with that? For 4 hours? I'm just, see, because I've never put 4 hours into anything. I mean, I haven't. So teach me a little something right here. Give me like a 1-minute course on what are you doing for 4 hours on 2 pages.
At that time, it was trying to figure out who. So the writer just writes the thing, and he has whatever characterization he has in his head, who he sees this character as. So my job at the time, and this is particularly at that time, was to find out what this guy's motivation is. Why is this character saying these words to this person on this particular day at this moment right now?
Right, okay,
right?
Okay.
And with comedy, you just add timing into it, right? But specifically because that is how I believe is how you identify, how the audience, people at home watching it, or in the audience watching, identify with your character. That's how they fall in love with your character. Like, that guy is thinking about what he just said, and he came up with this idea on the fly, as opposed to you're just saying it for comedy.
Yes, I see. Okay,
right?
Yeah, I totally see that.
And then years later, this is the Family Matters thing, and the years up to that. And then what I found out was, and I think this is a decent lesson, right? For character actors. maybe every actor, probably every actor, but specifically character actors, is the you know, like we like to say, there's this we're in this show business, right? It's this show and then it's business. I don't buy into that because I've got an agent, I got a manager, I got a lawyer. They're the business partner. I just create. I just do create stuff. But if there's any business bent to what I do, it is, or what we do, it is, what exactly are you selling? Because this isn't a theater town. This is a moving picture, television town. So what is it that you are selling? Why is it that the audience identifies with you? What is it? Who are you? Like Harrison Ford what is the essence of you is what I call it. Harrison Ford has been selling the world. The world is on his shoulders. Whenever you see him, the weight of the world is on his shoulders.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise is the save the world guy.
Right.
Morgan Freeman is the voice of God guy.
Right. Yeah.
So what is the essence of Sam Jackson in movies? Sam Jackson is the angry black guy.
Right.
Regardless of what character he does, and that's all he does. Right. So that's all they're buying. So what is it that I'm selling?
And what is it that you're selling?
I don't like to be. I'm not comfortable being anywhere that I am.
Okay.
Anytime we're talking, I can't wait to get through with this conversation and on to something else.
Wow, and that's the way I remember Entourage. But like your character stood out, and you were kind of done with this conversation.
Done. Don't want to talk to Turtle. Don't want to talk to drama. Don't want to talk to any. I just want to get the hell out of there.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So I've been honing. I had been honing that for 20 years, 15, 20 years, and so I bring that now. So now I don't do the 4 hours. Now I do 30 minutes of working on a thing because I've honed exactly who this character is. So I know everything about that character because he doesn't want to be where he is, ever.
How did you come up with that? Don't want to be where I'm at.
Class, stage.
Did somebody tell you those words, or did you actually figure that out?
I figured it out.
Is it because you kept getting auditions that, man, this character always seemed to be popping up, or are you just kind of fitting this into everything that comes across your table?
I started fitting it into everything that came across. So, well, what if I did that? I started getting a lot of commercials. I've done a lot of commercials. Over 200 commercials, and so the Family Matters guy. I mean, a lot of stuff between that and Entourage, right? But the Family Matters guy was just a funny guy, and I allowed my voice to go up an octave in Family Matters. So my voice wasn't in this range. Right. It was like, hey, yeah. So I kept it right, and then did a lot of commercials, and then I started getting commercials that were in my audition. I'd go, and I'm gonna play this guy kind of angry, kind of disgruntled, because everyone else is going, oh, he's a doctor, or he's a clown, he's a whatever. Yeah, he's gonna be an angry clown. So I started doing that and started booking more commercials.
Really?
So I thought, let me hone in on that and bring that to every audition, and I did, and that I started working a lot, and then that became the character.
Okay, Marlon, has any director ever gone, hey, Marlon, lose the angry guy?
Yes.
And
I say,
what?
No.
Really?
Oh yeah. No, I'm not gonna do that.
Well, what do you mean you say no? You don't say no to a director, do you?
Yeah, I do.
Really?
Well, yeah, sure.
Give me an example. Has it ever gone afoul? Are you doing that? Like any words back and forth?
No, I because this is gonna sound maybe just a little bit arrogant.
But that's what this show's about. It's all about you. So
there you go. Appreciate that. But it's arrogance for at the benefit of all of us actors, and that is a lot of the time, most of the time, we think of ourselves as second class, right? It's like you go on a movie and the director's in charge. You go on a TV show and the producers are in charge, and to a degree they are, right? But they can't shoot this role without me, and the director can't direct the thing without the writer, and the writer can't bring the character to life without, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So everyone has their own importance. So I don't allow a director to change what I do. I don't tell you how to direct, right?
Right.
What kind of director you should be. This shot should look more like a Scorsese shot. No, that's Bill's shot. So this is me. This is what I bring to the table. So you have to work within, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
You have to work
totally.
within that.
Yeah.
So no, it's never an argument's never come up. We've had just a bit of back and forth on one project. I can't remember the name of the director, who said essentially that. He goes, I think this guy's a little blah blah blah. I think he's a little lighter. And I said, two things. One is that's not what I did in the audition. That got me here. And the other is I am not going to change that. That's who I am.
Are you afraid on the set? Do you ever get afraid of messing up? I know not the mind thing of going back and forth. Man, I messed up.
Yeah.
Are you afraid of messing up? Are you intimidated by others?
I'm not afraid of anybody.
See, that's the reason why I asked you that question about the military, because I'm always afraid I'm gonna get fired that day. I'm afraid I'm gonna mess up. I'm afraid they're gonna find out that he's not really a good
fraud.
Yeah, I'm constantly in fear, man. And I'm like, man, I wish I had some self-discipline in my life. But you're telling me everything that I've always wanted. So, what is it like not being afraid? I mean, I think that's a very freeing feeling.
It is. That's exactly the word I was going to use. Excuse me. It is a very freeing thing. So we only have two basic emotions that govern how we live. It's fear and love. It's really all we have. That's all babies have.
Yeah.
And ultimately, that's all really we have. We compound it with, as we get older, with jealousy, rage, hate, and so on and so forth. But really, it's all fear and love. So if I'm not loving what I'm doing, then I may be fearing what I'm doing. And if I am, then what is my fear? Where is that coming from? What am I afraid of? Because even if I screw up on set, I'm not going to the hospital. My ears aren't bleeding. I'm not losing the house.
Yeah.
You know, I'm fine. I'm totally fine.
Well, I've always said the day you're on a set, you don't think about any of your other problems.
That's right.
Because there's something very magical about being on a set.
Yeah. Isn't it great?
Yeah, it's absolutely wonderful. And there's no other feeling that you can get from that. You can't replace that being anywhere else. You have to actually be on the set to feel that way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is interesting. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I saw an interview with, I heard an interview with, I think it was Christopher Walken's wife. And she said, when he's not on set, he's the most miserable bastard to be around.
I believe that. I could see that. Yeah. Okay, how false starts? Have you had any false starts in your career?
Wait, like what?
Meaning, you book a job, you're thinking that this is going to take me to the next level.
No. I've never thought of any job as that.
Really?
Never thought of any job as that.
See, I think of that all the time. I mean, that 27 false starts this year alone.
Right? No, I think I always think just bring my A game to every job. Period.
Okay, all right.
And if that leads to the next thing, great. But ultimately, I want to be seen or remembered or thought of as just a really good character actor.
Top 3 jobs you've booked, jobs you look back and go, I'm proud of this one, I'm proud of this one, I'm proud of this one. Just top 3.
Entourage.
Why? Let's talk about Entourage for
Sure.
a second. Tell me about when you went into audition, was it just a one-off?
Yes.
Okay, tell me about that. Tell me and how they bring you back. I like those stories.
Okay. So it's Mark Wahlberg, and it's this particular guest star is a black guy in his late 30s, early 40s. So every black known character actor in town, I wasn't really known. I think I was really known. Right? It was just an audition for me. But every known black character actor was auditioning for wanted that role because it's Mark Wahlberg. It's going to be a big hit. They think, and so on and so forth. It's a hour and a half wait.
Hour and a half wait?
My audition was like 5 or whatever.
Who was the casting director?
Sheila Jaffe.
Yes, that's right, okay.
Right. I didn't go in for her. I think it was a straight to producer call.
Okay.
I think it was straight. So I go in the room. So it's an hour halfway. It's 5. They're auditioning 3 different roles that day. It's full of people. They're auditioning for this girl, some other guy, and then this particular role. So it's a bunch of people in the lobby, you know. And hour and a half go by, and you know, it's the one thing that I still can't come to grips with is that, dude. My audition's at 5:30. I'm here at 5:30. Why is it 6:30?
Exactly. Yeah.
I got stuff to do.
Yeah.
Okay. Get off on that tangent. But that's the only thing I can't. I still can't. Whatever. Anyway, so that's going through my. It's like, it's 6:30. All right, fine. By now, I've honed this character, this seemingly angry, don't want to be here guy.
Right.
So this works perfectly.
Yeah.
This works, right? So get in the thing, I get in the room, and it's everybody's in the room. Everybody but Mark is in the room. All the producers are there. All the writers are there. I don't think the other actors are there, but it's like 10, 11 people in there.
Were you kind of hoping that Marky was in there?
No, didn't care.
Okay.
Didn't care. So I go in and I do the introduction. Hey, everybody, it's Marlon. Yeah, hey, I do. And do you have any questions? And I said, you motherfuckers ready to go home?
You said that.
I said that.
Okay.
And
that's not in the script.
No.
Okay.
That was my introduction. You motherfuckers ready to go home? Because I was like one of the last. It was like 2 of us left in the lobby.
Okay.
Waiting for the room to laugh. Nothing. Fine. Nothing. And from the back, the guy running the camera said, "Dude, just be good." And that told me everything about everybody who came before me.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
Yeah.
So I spent the next 30 seconds telling him how good I was going to be. Right?
Okay.
So
You're not worried that that's going to backfire on you.
don't care.
See, I want that confidence. Okay,
Right.
go ahead.
So I say that, you know, you're not gonna. I'm gonna be so good. If the lobby was still full, you would walk out of here and tell everybody to go the hell home. That's how good I'm going to be. You're not gonna believe it. Brando's not gonna be this good, or whatever it was. Now everybody's sitting up, and then we start the thing, and then I do it. And
Are
then
you totally off book?
totally off book on that particular one scene? So I'm off book. I do that. And I leave. I don't say thank you or do you want to see it differently? None of that. I finish it and I leave. Right?
Okay. Is that your play? Do you do that a lot?
Sometimes not.
Okay.
Sometimes
All right.
not. But that was my play that day. For
Okay.
certain. So last word, walked out the door.
Okay.
Right.
I dig it.
And walked to my car. Before I got to my car, my manager called me and said, "You got the role."
Awesome.
Yeah. So I do the thing, and then one of the producers called me personally and said, "Love this character, man. We're bringing you back."
That's awesome.
Okay.
A producer calls you
Yeah.
personally.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen.
No, not often.
No, it does not
No.
happen often. I mean, you know, you hear these rare stories, but
Yeah.
that's great.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're not thinking this is it? This is the thing? Still not that question?
Not the star of the show.
Okay.
Yeah, not the star of the show.
How many did you do?
You know what's funny? I did 4. And people still come 10 years, however long years ago. I'll be out of the country. And people, even before that, after the show went off the air, people will come up to me and go, "I love that character. So what do you guys do in the movie?" I'm like, "Dude, I don't."
Marlon, I agree with these people. You were that great in it. I mean, I still remember
you.
everything you do in that. Everything you did in that, I still remember it. You stood out.
Apparently.
Yeah.
But I don't go in. So again, I don't think that. I don't think I'm going to stand out in the public. I just go, I am going to show it with my A game. Period.
Right.
And bring all of it every time. And hopefully on the first take.
Right.
You know?
Now, when you mess up a first take and you realize you're not doing it a first take, that's not messing up your confidence at all yet?
No.
All right, okay.
Not to sound too arrogant.
Go, please.
I rarely screw up a first take.
at you, man. Okay.
You know what? You know why?
Why?
Because I don't, and this is particularly as a black actor. They're not a ton. I'm not going to get as many auditions as you're going to get. I'm just not. They're just more white characters written than there are black characters written. Those are just numbers, right? That's just a number. There's no, the diversity. We should have more. Look, man, that's, I get it, but that's up to them, and that's not. I can't worry about that.
Well, Marlon,
right?
do you think that's kind of changed in the last few years?
A little bit. Here's my bit with that. It changed, and you're gonna like this next thing I'll tell you, which just happened this last week, which is really cool. It's just a really cool thing. It started to change in this early '70s, right? I was born in the '60s, right? So raised up in the '70s, and I remember when I started seeing people who looked like me on television, right? That like really started to see people who looked like me on television, and this was when there were only 3 networks. Right? It was ABC, CBS, NBC.
Yeah.
That's it. So that's all you had.
PBS. Okay, good.
Well, okay, there was that, and Mr. Rogers had the black guy,
Exactly.
mailman on a cop.
Yeah, they took a.
Yeah. But Diane Carroll starred in Julia, and then there was Room 222, right?
Right.
Remember that?
Yeah.
And then
That was from the Jeffersons lady, the maid from Jeffersons.
no, that was 227.
Oh, this
No,
is.
Room 222 was either 69, 70, 71 around there. It took place in a high school, and it was Karen Valentine was
Okay,
a young
okay.
white girl character, young, really funny character. And the show kind of became hers, but there was there were black teachers on it, there were black students on it, and it was like early '70s. And then there was a Mod Squad, right? There was Clarence Williams III playing, Lincoln.
I used to see Clarence here a lot.
Did a movie with him. He was fantastic. Had a scene with him. It was a heavy scene with him, which was awesome. Then Good Times showed up, and then the Jeffersons showed up in it, right?
Right.
So it seemed like it was starting to thing, and then the '80s came, and it kind of peaked at the '80s, and then it started to taper off after that. It was like black shows started to disappear, and for me it was just. So it became a disappointing thing.
Yeah.
And then there was a resurgence of it a few years ago, and it was like more. So when I get asked that question, do you think it's changing? My answer is kind of retroactive. It's like it was changing in the '70s. So we should actually be further along.
Right. I see your point. Yeah, totally, man.
So I'm at a charity event. My wife and I are friends with this. Grant Heslov is?
Yes, I do.
Right, George Clooney's producer.
Yes, that's how exactly I know.
So we're friends with he and his wife Lisa, and they
That's a great relationship, by the way. Those 2 guys.
And been together forever.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
And Grant's he's a great guy. He's a quiet guy, but he's just a really.
He used to be
really
an
good
actor.
guy.
Is he still an actor?
He's not. Only producing.
Yeah, I would love that job.
My stepson came into our bedroom 2 weeks ago. He said, "Hey, you guys want to watch a movie together?" We're like, "Yeah. What do you want to watch?" He said, "I'd like to see Birdcage." I said, "Man, I haven't seen Birdcage forever." We're watching Birdcage. Grant shows up on the screen.
Oh wow.
He's a cameraman with the reporter.
Yes.
Who's stalking Gene Hackman, which was just funny. So, but no, he stopped acting. So he's only producing. So they have a party. We got invited to the party last week, like 20, 25 people, something like that. And I'm talking to, one of the guys that I know, who I've seen him at a couple of these parties before. And I look over to my right, and there stands Norman Lear.
Wow.
So for an hour and a half to 2 hours, I ended up having a conversation with Norman Lear.
Look at you. Yeah, wow.
Right?
Yeah.
Creator of All in the Family, Jeffersons,
Yep.
Maude, Good Times.
What stood out? What was the thing that stood out to you most about the conversation? What did you go home thinking about after he told you?
Specifically,
Yeah.
Norman Lear wants to hang out with me. They just invited us this morning they invited us to their house
Are you
party
serious?
on Monday. No.
Are you serious?
He and his wife and my wife got to talking. And then, oh my God, we don't hang out with that many couples. We just love the two of you. Norman and I want you to come hang out with us. And we're like, yeah, we'll see if that pans out. She and the wives have been texting
Awesome.
every other day. And before I came here, she goes, oh, we got to go to a party at Lynn and Norman's house on Monday.
Look at you.
So that's what I
cool.
came out of there
That's
with,
cool.
which is-
That's cool.
Norman Lear,
Yeah, man.
you know, changed my life. Norman Lear, Jerry Lewis and Norman Lear changed my life. Jerry Lewis because that's what I want to do, and Norman Lear because like this can be done. Black
Yes,
people,
yes,
ordinary
yes.
black people can be on TV showing their lives as a black person. That's what
Yep.
Good Times was about. I mean, to force a all black family living in the ghetto of Chicago onto white America every Friday night or whatever the hell it was.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Like nobody's gonna watch that. White people can't identify with an all black family living in. So no,
Norman figured that out.
figure that out. So no, they will watch that.
Yeah.
Everyone will identify with those people
And
because
we
they're just people.
yeah, and we loved every show. I mean, that was
Loved it.
Loved it.
Loved it, you know. So I told him that, and it was great. We ended up bonding. It was really cool. 93.
93 years old. Is he drinking? What does he do? What does one do at 93?
I don't know. Okay. I think you just share your story with everybody. You know.
Okay, we're at 41 minutes. We're going to start winding down here.
Okay. This is great, by the way.
Well, thank you. No,
again.
thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, I asked for 3 big bookings of yours.
Okay.
Entourage.
Yeah.
Just finish up the other 2, please. What are the other 2?
War of the Worlds.
Okay. Did you film with Tom on that?
I did. I was in a scene with him.
And what was that like? Because I hear nothing but great stories about Tom Cruise.
I'll tell you a story on the set, and then I think that will sum up who Tom is.
Great.
For my experience with Tom. Signed with my manager at the time. Signed with him, and said he said, what's your short-term goal and long-term goal? So my long-term goal.
Wait,
is
I'm sorry. Who's asking you this question?
My manager.
Okay, I thought
Right.
Tom
No,
started asking you. I'm like, wait, what?
No, it's my manager. He said, what did I said, my long-term goal is to, be on a character actor on a series, have my own series, be on a series.
By the way, I was going to ask you the same question. What's your long-term goal on this? So you're actually going to be answering the question, but go ahead.
Yeah. So that was my answer then.
To be on a series.
To be on a series.
Okay.
Preferably a series that I've written. I started writing about 20 years ago, and at this point I've written 20 screenplays.
Awesome.
And 7 of those are for television.
Okay.
Right? That I hope to get made. One we're in the process of getting made.
Right.
Big picture, and it's great. Anyway, so there's that. I said that's my long-term goal at the time, and my short-term goal. He said, "What's your short-term goal?" So my short-term goal is I want a Spielberg credit on my resume. And I waited for him to go. What's the other short-term goal?
Right.
You know what I mean? But he said, "Okay, then I got to get you in front of her casting director."
That's a good manager, right
His
there.
casting director. Yeah. So he got me in front of Debbie Zane.
Yes.
So he got me in front of Debbie Zane. So I got to get in front of Debbie Zane.
I call her Deborah Zane, but is it Debbie?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, because you're friends with her, do you
Yeah,
call her
yeah,
Debbie?
yeah,
I was going to say. I mean,
So
yeah. I'm still on the Deborah Zane,
Okay.
Mrs. Zane.
yeah, we became friends. We became friends. So she's casting this movie, Jarhead,
Sure, yeah.
and calls me in for that movie. I know I'm not going to get that role.
Well, it seemed like you would think you would get that role because it's about
Military.
Yeah, military.
That's why I knew I wasn't going to get it because it's about.
Okay, but you were okay. Out of all the times for not to have confidence, this is the time you don't have confidence that you're not.
I'm pretty certain I'm
Okay,
not going to get it.
okay, all right.
So I go in and I do the audition, and it turns out my manager called her twice a day, every day for a week, and his final call to her, she said, "Look, well, if I see this guy, will you stop calling me?" And he said, "That's the only reason I'm calling you." So she saw me, and I did this audition for this Jarhead. Didn't get it. A couple of months later, or whenever the heck it was, calls, got an audition for Spielberg film, and they gave me it was a monologue. They wouldn't release any of the script, so right. So it was a monologue from some other movie, Crash or something. So I do the audition. Next day, manager calls me, says, "Are you sitting down?" And I said, "Just got out of the shower, let me sit down." So I sat down, and he goes,
Do you have any idea that it's about to be about this, or are you thinking it's just about an audition?
About an audition.
Okay, all right.
Just got a call from Debbie Zane. She said Steven Spielberg just called her and said, I saw the tapes because he watches all the audition tapes and on some secure site or whatever the hell it was.
Sure.
He called her about 3 actors. He said, I want this person, and Marlon Young. So I get the role, which is great.
Did you freak out when you heard that?
A little bit. That was a little bit.
Little bit. Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Just a little bit,
Okay.
because put it out there and
Yeah.
right?
Sure.
So, but then you freak out for a bit. But then the other side is, obviously, all I need to do is get in front of an audition, like we do. Right?
Yeah,
we just want a chance to do what we do. So I do that. I get to the thing. I get to the set. It's the remember the movie?
Oh yeah.
It's the big airplane crash scene.
Yeah.
Right. So that's the scene. So the airplane crashes there, and this PA that picked me up from the parking structure at Universal, drove me to the thing, to my trailer, and he goes, "Oh, let me take you to the trailer, and then I'll take you over to meet Steven." And oh, great. So put my stuff in the trailer. He drives me over, meet Steven. Steven says, "Look what I built for you," which was great. And then,
by the way, my buddy lives behind Universal Studios, and all you have to do is look down and you see the plane crash.
Really?
Yeah, it's still there, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. He sees it every morning. Okay, go ahead.
Then Tom is there, and he takes me over to, he said, "What? We have a bit of a conversation. He goes, man, I loved your audition.
Tom said this?
No, this is Steve.
Okay.
And he said, let's go meet Tom.
Okay.
So we walk over to Tom, and he says, which I always find funny. He goes, "Hey man, Tom." I'm like, really?
Yeah. Oh, Tom. Oh, Tom. Okay.
Right.
Bad with
Tom.
names. Oh, yeah, okay.
I might have to repeat it later on because I'm horrible. So, I don't know, overrun our time here with this whole story, but what ends up happening is the scene that we're doing is my character is half deaf. A bomb has gone off next to his ears. A news reporter, cameraman, and it was supposed to happen on the ground. He's looking for food in this container that they have on the plane. He's looking for food. Tom comes up behind him, touches him, and he turns around. He's going to hit him with this thing, and we have this bit of a dialogue. And David Koepp, who's a writer, is standing there as we're going through the rehearsal. And I said to Steven, can I say less? He said, why do you want to say less? It's because he's deaf. He's kind of deaf in one ear because of this bomb thing. And all he wants to do is get into this food thing.
And you're not saying I want to say less because you're worried about messing up a long line.
No.
You really think it's going to add to it.
I think this guy's concentrated on getting food. He doesn't care about talking to this guy, whoever this guy is. He's been running from these monsters.
Yeah.
Can you help me get in this thing? No, then get the hell away from me.
Right.
Kind of thing. And he said, that's a first.
Yeah.
But then he turned to the writer and said, can you? And David was like, yeah, right, let's. So I ended up having like 2 lines, which was great, and so that was it. So the scene was great. So we're in between shooting that thing. So and then we ended up, instead of having it on the ground, they put it up in the plane. So I'm up there dragging the box and yada yada yada. I'm on the ground, in between take, talking to Tom. Every time there's a cut, Tom's crew swarms around me. I fix his hair, fix his shirt, tie his shoes.
Tom's
set
crew.
This thing up. Yes, Tom Cruise's crew. Cruise's cruise show. Right? So take him. It's like a cut, and they like grab him and usher him off that way. Just there and come back and plant him. So he asked me about something. He asked me about my upbringing, about flying. We were talking about flying actually. He asked me about flying. I said something about helicopters flying over. I said, "Oh, I used to do that." And then he's like, "Oh, yeah, I own a couple planes." And so we started talking about the flying thing. And he asked me how I got interested in flying, and I was about to tell him, and then his crew came, grabbed him, right? Took him way over there. I was like, fun. You don't need to know my bullshit story, whatever. So I'm standing here, waiting for the scene to start again. I'm just kind of looking around, waiting for the scene. And again, he's off doing whatever. And about 5 minutes after that, I hear, "Okay, man, sorry about that. Finish telling me that story."
Awesome. I dig it. I dig it.
That was my experience with Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
And I was there for a week. We shot for like 4 or 5 days. 5 days.
And that was at Universal Studios,
That was
right?
Universal, yeah.
All right, last third one, last big booking that you loved.
I did a.
I don't want to say the word big booking.
No, I
Any
know.
booking that you are
That I
proud
like.
of. Yeah.
I did a commercial a couple of years ago for Kia Sorrento,
Okay.
and it's a participation trophy commercial.
Okay.
It's me and my kid. I go pick my kid up at this park. They've given him a participation trophy. I look at it. Participation trophy. Why give him a participation trophy? Right? Why is everybody getting a trophy? I mean, we beat the hell out of everybody. So I tear off the thing that says participant, and I take out a Sharpie and I write champ on it, and I give it in the car. I go, here you go, champ. He's like, thanks,
Nice.
Dad. So it was a fortunate job on my actual take on participation trophy. That's because I think that about
Right.
participation
Yes.
trophy.
Yes.
No, man, you got to work for it.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So I love that. I love that commercial because I had guys who were guys who saw it, like sports guys and like football players
get
and
it.
basketball players. So
Yeah.
like, dude, I saw that commercial.
Yeah.
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 What you
yeah.
said.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay. Really quick.
Yep.
Worst day in Hollywood. And this is nothing personal, just strictly business Hollywood.
Oh, just Hollywood business.
Yeah.
I was doing an episode of JAG, and this actress who was on the show thought the show was about her, and it wasn't. And we're rehearsing, and while she was away sucking up to the director, I said to the other actor, who I had to open this briefcase, and in the master, I would hand him a map, so he'd be talking over here, and then I'd reach over like this in the master shot, right, big shot. So he kept forgetting to do that in the medium shot, because I wouldn't open the briefcase, because if I do the snaps, you know, the boom will pick it up, right?
Sure.
So he kept forgetting it. So I said, Tom, I'll do this in rehearsal. When we start shooting, I won't do it, but I'll do it in rehearsal just so you can get used to hearing the click. And
Yeah.
goes, "Oh,
Yeah.
okay."
Yeah.
In the rehearsal, she comes back after I just said that. Doing the scene, I click open the thing, click, right? And she goes, you're me. There's an actress there, somebody over here, and she goes, you're me. She goes, you know, if he does that
Oh my gosh.
during, you know, the Michael, I'm just saying if he.
Okay, what do you do? How do you respond to that?
She finally turns to me and she goes, and I said, excuse me. And I walk over to the director and I said, here's what just happened. If she says another word to me, there's going to be a problem on this set between she and myself. She didn't speak to me the rest of the week. We did the scene, but she was like, stay clear of that guy. So she did. That's the worst thing. Because I don't want to get angry on set. Why do you want to get angry on set?
Exactly. What's the best piece of advice that kind of, what's your mantra? What do you stick to? What's something, piece of advice that you call upon a lot in this town?
Stay in class or get in class. Do plays to hone your craft and find out what is the one thing that you're selling. The thing that I love, I call it the essence of you. Find out what is the essence of you. Not you, what is the drive of you? What one word describes who you are, kind of one sentence describes who you are. So the essence of you can only find that out in class and right? And on stage.
Yeah.
So find that out and hone that thing, and you'll be fine. Because you know now you know the one thing you're working on.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, I dig that. Two last things.
Yep.
Who should I interview next?
Norman Lear.
I wish. But somebody who I can get in contact with. Who do you like? You know what? Clint should interview this guy.
Ted Lyde.
I'm sorry, Ted.
Ted Lyde.
Okay.
Lyde. Ted also has a podcast.
Okay.
But he's an irreverent funny, really brilliant guy.
Okay.
Just as just a guy and an actor who has a special needs kid, and the way he builds his life around that kid, and moves through life with knowing that, right, and living with that, and succeeding with it is just.
All right.
It's just fantastic.
All right, I'm going to check him out.
All right,
All right.
So Ted lied, and have you had an actor on, a young actor on, who hasn't done it yet, and use that as a platform? Use this as a
No,
platform?
but I've thought about that several
Okay.
times.
Okay.
I want that, but my fear is, what am I going to talk to him about?
Got it.
Because I like a guy who's got a follow
done
through, who's done it.
Yeah.
But I've been wanting to get a guy going into it. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
his wide eyes, like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But that's a good one though. I'm working on that.
Barry Papik,
Barry Papik. Okay.
character actor, acting coach.
Okay, I'm going to check those two guys
Yeah.
out.
Ted lied, Barry Papik.
I may text you later, just a reminder of those names.
Sure, absolutely, absolutely.
Marlon, one last thing.
Yep.
We tell everybody bye out there.
Thanks for watching and listening, and we'll see you